Good afternoon, everybody. 1 minute after 2. Welcome. This is the live trading room. I'm Ashley Reeve. Good to be with you. Streaming live from Johannesburg, Sandton. Before we get started, remember, guys, the information we discuss in this video is opinion and should not be construed as advice in any way. We're just about to get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Almost there. If you're here for the very first time, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. What a privilege and an honor to have you. Yeah. There we go. A warm welcome to everybody that's online here. If you're going to be checking us out a little bit later on, catching up, obviously might have missed some of the moves then, but it's really good to be with you, yeah? We have, some links in the chat facility from our Magic Marketing team. If you'd like to sign up and start your journey with us, guys, link is in the chat facility. We have a live chat available with our super support team there, yeah? 010-3000-011. You can also reach our support team at care@tdmarkets.com. And don't forget, guys, our latest FMAS edition. The podcast for the TDM Academy is really here. It's done. Check it out. The link is in the chat facility as well. Don't hesitate. Come on. All right, here we go. Once again, to everybody that's tuning in, I greet you for the second time. This is the TD Markets Academy live trading room. I'm Ashley Reeve. If you're here for the first time, a warm welcome. If you are a regular participant with us, you are also welcomed. It's an absolute pleasure being with you here this afternoon. I'm ready to go. We want to have a look and see what's happening. We know that it is the CPI week, so we're going to be chatting or at least give some feedback on, some of the fundamentals you can look out for. And then we're going to get into the charts and we're going to see what's happening there, yeah? So let's maybe kick it off with, what are the major themes for the week, all right? The first one being there, the US CPI, which is an inflationary measurement or metric report. It's the biggest event of the week, obviously, this week. Number two, we have the Fed rate hike expectations and whether they are increasing or not. After the strong US jobs data, that's an important one. And thirdly, the Middle East tensions easing slightly. We'll look at the oil price on that one, all right? It's also reducing safe haven demand for some of the commodities like your gold. But obviously, it's not completely out of the woods yet because, anything can happen from this point onwards, yeah? But we'll be checking out that price to see what's happening. But it's good to be with you. Let's get on with it. We'll maybe start at the U.S. We start in the West with the U.S., currently see what is happening over there. We're going to go through a couple of charts as well. I got some FX lined up. And if you are here and you're trading anything and you'd like for us to have a look at it, not a problem. Send it through on the chat facility and I'll get into that one. It's not a problem at all. All right. So let's maybe start it off with the euro dollar over here. And let's maybe look at what's happening in the US itself. The US dollar, remains near a 2-month high. So don't let this chart fool you. All right. Last week's non-farm payrolls, the job report was much stronger than expected. And the markets now see roughly a 70% chance of a Fed rate hike by December. But tomorrow's focus is entirely on the CPI inflation data. And some may ask why. Because, the strong employment suggests that the US economy remains resilient. If inflation remains elevated, the Fed may need to keep rates higher for longer, and the rate hike later this year becomes more likely. But if inflation cools down, the Fed hike expectations could fade. And obviously, what's very important, the dollar may weaken. All right. So please make sure you check it out. So let's look at the Euro USD here. Very, very, very important for us to note. It's a very important chart, closely, related and correlated with the DXY there. You can also look at the gold chart if you're looking at this one over here. Very important. Let's maybe have a look at the short, medium, and long-term view. I've divided the chart into these three major periods so that you can have a easier visual on the eye, a more appealing visual on the eye for possible trades. I'm currently in a long here with the Euro USD. That's very, 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 very important. All right. I'm in a long here. I've already gotten into it. I've gotten in right over there. Currently sitting in a bit of profits. I was waiting for price to extend out of this gray area over here. It has, and I got in at that high. So I expect price to possibly come down again, because remember, price moves in a wavy like structure. I mean, we're not, new to that. We're not strangers to that. So I am anticipating price to possibly correct, create another higher low, but I'm anticipating it to move up to the 116 area, which is about 40 to 50 pips away. Fantastic price action that's actually happening here. A lot of divergence that's actually happening. That's the euro dollar now. That's the euro dollar. Now, please remember, what's important for us to note about this is the following. That the dollar is at a very strong place at this point in time. That does not mean the next 2 to 3 months it's going to remain the same. I'm referring to now, all right? And I think that's where you need to know how the academy works, all right? We are real-time demonstrators, all right? Myself and T at the academy, what we're doing is we are not giving you what could happen in the next 6 to 10, 12 months. That's easy to look at when you look at the technicals, you look at some of the fundamentals, you look at some of the macro and micro details when it comes to what's happening in these specific countries. But because we are traders, all right, we're not looking for the next 3 to 6 months here. We're trying to understand what could possibly happen today. We're trying to understand if there is a move, can I capitalize on that? So that's the education that we obviously, offer to our students, guys. It is unmatched at this point in time. You can ask our CEO. He'll tell you the same thing. It's unmatched. And we want to get the guys to understand the now movement. So the now movement right now, euro dollar, we've moved out of the short term block here. We're into the medium term now. We're expecting that medium term, and that's a couple of days and so forth for it to do a bit of a wavy move and then push up again. We could even today still push right up and then tomorrow, come down with the CPI. I'm only referring to today, all right? Or we could get to this specific area here, resist, and then come down for a higher low. But at this point in time, the euro is definitely strengthening against the dollar. Why? Well, if you look at the ECB, that's the central bank there, all right, is expected to raise those interest rates this week. However, the euro USD will obviously remain under pressure because traders are focused on the Fed, all right? But what's important, guys, is that the ECB hike is supporting the euro narrative right now at this moment in time. The interest rate advantage is still, favoring the dollar, as I mentioned, but for today, this is where we're at. That's the euro dollar, all right? Now, if you look at the ECB versus the Federal Reserve, I'm talking European or Eurozone versus the Federal Reserve, which is the US, whichever central bank sounds more hawkish will likely determine where the euro USD direction will go this week. But for today, 1411 on the 9th of June, this is where we are at. All right, can you believe it? 9th of June already. We're moving, guys, steamrolling through the month, all right? And then obviously, guys, we cannot move away from AUD USD. Also an important one here. We're looking at this one from an Australian perspective, guys. The AUD did bounce back slightly above that 70 cents there. Consumer confidence remains pretty weak in Australia. Australians, continue feeling a lot of pressure from those high living costs. Needless to say, traders, this is obviously due to the Middle Eastern tension with the Strait. They're getting a lot of the oil that's coming from there, obviously. And obviously, as you know, oil is the major or one of the major contributors to production. And obviously, traders are waiting then for next week's Reserve Bank of Australia's decision. But one of the questions is why? Is because, a lot of the domestic sentiment in Australia is deteriorating, but the improving global risk appetite from the Israel and Iran ceasefire supports the AUD, obviously. The commodity demand remains supportive. You guys know Australia is a commodity-driven currency. And so the impact then, what we're seeing on the FX side here, guys, is that the Aussie is currently caught between a better global risk sentiment, one, and two, a stronger US dollar, and with those rising Fed expectations. So if the CPI is hot, meaning a high, AUD USD is likely to fall further or right down. So if I go to a daily frame, we're going to see it possibly fall down further. But if we have a softer, much cooler CPI reading, then we could see the AUD strengthen against the dollar, and that's what we're going to be looking for. If price breaks above that resistance, that's where we will be at. All right, I see Sandile is there, Bravo's there. Good afternoon. If there's anyone else here that's joining us, let me know. Send a brother some love, all the way from wherever you are. All right, don't forget, we have those links in the chat facility, brought to you by our great magic marketing team there, guys. All right, we got our podcast for the FMAS that we attended. Phenomenal time being with the team. Very successful as always. We really strive with a high, or to give a high standard as TD Markets. Well supported, well attended, and we're extremely happy. Not only that, guys, remember our TD Markets Exchange, our crypto division, doing phenomenal at this moment in time. You guys should not forget to get in there. Exclusively crypto. All right, guys. We at TD Markets, we are literally providing our clients with as many offerings as possible to assist them to diversify in a very smart way. The education obviously helps. Remember, guys, we cannot give any advice as to do this or do that, but if you are educated and you have understanding, you become that one that pulls the trigger, and so we actually specialize in that. All right, guys. So with the Australian dollar there, we're waiting to see what's going to happen. You can see it's consolidating right now. Please, guys, we don't want to be foolish. When the price shows you something, don't try to go against the grain. Move with the price. Don't try to go against the price. It's consolidating. It's not moved away yet. All right? That's one of the, fundamentals that we give all. When I say fundamentals, I'm referring to the foundational aspects of our curriculum, is that we're not trying to go against the grain. Yes, certain things in life, one must put pressure there if you want results, and that is fair to say. Yes, but there's certain things you gotta leave it. You got to leave it. All right. Are we together? I see Bravo there. Hold on. We'll watch the podcast. Glad to beautiful. Thanks, Andile. Bravo. TD Markets, FNB Deposit. Quickly reach out to our support team there real quickly. Tandi, if you're there, darling, can you just check that specific comment out there as well? That's from Bravo 1876. There we go. There we go. No, we're on the ball. Bravo. There we go. Care at tdmarkets.com. Super support. Man, guys, I'm telling you, a well-oiled machine. As one of our key individuals, Lumelo, always says, we are firing on all cylinders. All right, we're pushing. So let's wait. Let's see what happens. We're consolidating right now, and we're going to wait to see. Let's move over now to the New Zealand dollar, guys. So what's happening here? Much better market structure technically, guys. But you guys know we're not only guys that present candlesticks and trend lines, and no, we want to know what the mechanics are behind it as well. You should hear in our market review meetings. We have a lot of fundamental talk, what's happening around the world, great insight, and we are not a broker that just talks or speaks about charts. There is drivers, there's economic drivers, political drivers, sociological drivers that's behind all of this, all the systemic movement. All right, so a lot of great structure here. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. Pretty basic there from a trend development perspective, but from a fundamental angle, let's talk. New Zealand is attempting to recover from a 2-month low, guys. So the New Zealand dollar, the markets increasingly expect the Reserve Bank in New Zealand to raise those rates next month. The central bank has turned more hawkish due to the inflation concerns. And that kind of narrative you're going to find, across the board at this point in time. That's not to say it's going to be the same thing in the next month or two, guys. Anything can happen. I mean, look at the oil price this year, right? When Sky High came down, we had the tension. Last year, it was something totally different. Last year, we had a lot of crypto that was incoming. So every year, there are highlights. You just got to be a trader that starts to track these things. That's it. And guys, just so you do know, myself and T, during the month of June, we'll be announcing a couple of, added benefits to the TDM Academy. We'll be letting you guys know of a few changes, so stay tuned for that. We'll be mentioning that firstly in a little bit more detail tomorrow with the CPI, so you better not miss that. All right, back to the New Zealand dollar, or at least the Reserve Bank. They're a little bit worried, about the energy-driven inflation, the rising domestic price pressures. The markets are now, while they now expect rates to move significantly higher over the next year. And so the impact really on the FX side then this makes the New Zealand dollar one of the best supported commodity currencies, However, we do know that a stronger US dollar ahead of the CPI can obviously limit some of the gains. So we are bullish on the New Zealand dollar at this moment in time domestically, but it's battling that strong USD globally, all right, because of that oil price. So if I go to the daily frame, you can clearly see where where my arrow is. We are currently in this first gray area here. We've not broken out there. That's why Ash is not engaging in anything. All right. Over the years, we have found, and this is what we teach the guys, we have to learn a bit of patience. It really goes a long way. So we're waiting for the price to break out of that structure. You can see it a little bit more clearly now. And once we break there, higher probable, chance and situation, circumstance of price pushing a little bit higher here to that 59 cents there. All right. It's currently at the 58 cents there. And 58 cents of USD to give us 1 New Zealand dollar. All right, so if it breaks above there, we could be seeing some more, upwind or headway, or at least to the upside. But then don't forget, this is the structure today. Tomorrow CPI, it could be a totally different thing. From a daily perspective, we have already created a low here from this structure. So please be aware, a low, this is a lower high. We could get a lower low tomorrow. So just stay tuned for that. Like I said, I'm already in the Euro USD. I'm in a buy there. A little bit of profits. I did say I expected to come down. And the only reason why I went into this one was because it had already cleared this short-term area here. That's why I went in. And obviously, because of the support of the ECB, I am looking at this from a short term. I'm not looking at it, to stay in here, especially heading into the CPI tomorrow. If the price comes all the way down to this structure, I may just abort mission and then just wait for it. And then obviously tomorrow, I'll have a much clearer indication. If it does go up and I'm able to at least gather a few pips, at this point, it would be fantastic. Don't forget, the Academy specializes in demonstration, guys. We're demonstrating. We're not just saying, listen here, we want to buy and then leave it. We actually showcase it and we give reasons for why we do what we do. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Bravo. I see it there. Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Let's move over now, guys. Let's move over now. That was the New Zealand dollar. The pound dollar is looking pretty similar. We have seen it now push up to the Euro USD. Now, the question is, okay, Ash, you see it pushing up there. Yes, I see it. I actually put a buy limit area or buy limit, a pending order over here. All right, I'm waiting for price to come down first. I did not get in that high. Ash doesn't like getting into a high because 90% of the time, the moment there is a high, expect a correction. So the ideal setup would then be is if price, the moment it breaks out of that zone there, that's essentially where one would get a good entry. I'm going to say that again, good entry, not perfect entry. That does not exist. A perfect entry is there when you put a buy limit in place, price activates it, and then from there it starts going up. But in real time, it was a pending order. You also just waited for it to go. I'm referring to a good entry now, all right? A good entry is the moment it breaks out. You're going to get that correction, and as it moves, you can have you can actually extract quite a bit of pips. In this specific case, from that area to that area, price has already moved 38 pips, all right? So after that move, you guys know it's the major pairs. These guys aren't moving that much, all right, in one given day, especially if there's no fundamentals, all right? You do not want to get into an already exhausted move. Hear what this man is telling you. You don't want to get into a buy, all right, at an already exhausted move. That's about 40 pips. So the wisdom we apply here, we wait for correction, all right, for that retest or that pullback, because this is the impulse, as TT loves the word impulse there, and then obviously the correction down to gain something from that angle. Right now, it's pretty bullish, a lot of divergence. It's looking good, but obviously, let's give it a bit of time. All right, that is the GBP USD. Let's move swiftly now over to the gold price, and I've done nothing here. All right, I've done absolutely nothing here. I'm waiting. At this point in time, gold is stabilizing around the $4,300 per ounce after a lot of recent declines. Well, Ash, what do you mean? Well, look at the daily. For the month, excuse me, I beg your pardon. For the month of June, you can see there's been a decline. You can see last month decline. You can see there was a bit of a move there. And if you even go further, quite a bit of a decline here. A lot of dollar strength here over the past couple of months. All right. But this is, if you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, a very deep correction. All right. Now, this is not new, traders. We've been chatting about this for some time. Before gold even corrected, we were saying to everybody, there's too much green here. There has to be a bit of red. All right. We said this before gold. This was last year already. All right. This was last year already where we said we're going to get a pullback. So we're expecting price to possibly pull back to where you see the gray block is stopping, possibly down back to this area here of about $4,097 per ounce. But from a short-term perspective, guys, if we do get a weaker or a softer or cooler CPI, we might just break out there first and do a short-term run to the upside. All right. So please have an open mind with gold at this moment in time. I can tell you this: if I put my equidistant channel on the medium term right here, there's a lot of divergence that we're sitting on. In fact, let me quickly just go in here and let me zoom in, show you the divergence so that you can be satisfied. Now, the great thing about, what we do at TD is that we obviously teach our guys to use a lot of tools. You can use the standard RSI. You can use the oscillators, all right, which is obviously standard within the MT5 to look for divergence. Divergence is a very powerful tool. Many people don't really focus too much on it. They like to look at other ways, but try it, all right? And you can actually download indicators from the market, that's only, geared and focused on the divergence. And here's one here. It's called the RSI divergence without repaint. You can find this, guys. We show you how to do all of these things, all right? There's a lot of divergence here, all right? Now, if I go to an hour frame, All right, you can see the divergence at the bottom here. So hence I'm saying to you guys, there's a very, very big chance tomorrow is high probability. Look at that. Look at the divergence there. Even although there it's going up, please pay close attention to this. Sandila, check this out. There we see price going down. So what this is showing us that there is definitely buyers that have come in here. Now, price can do this at the US Open and then it can do that tomorrow. It can do that. All right. Right now, it's consolidating in this structure here. 1, 2, 3. Guys, you can't force. You can put in 100 standard lots right now. All right. That does not mean that price is going to move all the way up. All right. If we have trillions of US dollars, all right, and we all come together, then we can definitely move the market. All right. If we had 21 trillion US dollars in total year to date, we can all say, let's buy gold, and we could make a dent and actually have gold move up. All right. But I mean, that would be some serious trading there. Yeah. But right now it's consolidating. We're waiting for it. It's ahead of the CPI. We're going to wait and see what happens, especially at the 1530 mark. So please watch the gold price very carefully. All right. A lot of divergence that's pointing up, but we got to wait and see how that goes. All right. I'm seeing, hold on for me. I'm seeing Bravo, Euro USD, GBP USD. Share, I see you there, my friend. Gold have similar structure. Yes, after the NFP, I agree with you. They look like they've been committed. Upside move, breaking from that ranging zone, anticipating gold. Yes, so that word commit there, Bravo, I'll steal it for this session. All right. I'll steal your word here for that specific, well, for this specific session. Very important here, guys. This is what the charts look like now. FX respects support and resistance zones. I did not say levels. I said zones, because a zone has price that has, well, a high and a low, and in between is that range. FX really does respect it. Commodities does not. Commodities will break that specific range and will create, well, it will create a new support and then go in the direction that you were right about. Those are some of the differences we do teach, okay? It's quality content, guys. Believe us, all right? It's unmatched. It's unmatched. I stand on the words that our CEO has used, and I don't think I'm going to move away from that anytime soon. It is unmatched at this point in time. All right. So let's see what gold does. Nothing yet. Maybe even in this session, next 10 minutes, if there's a movement, all right, then we'll see how it goes. Let's move to the oil price now, guys. But hold on. I have to say this. The strong U.S. jobs data and the higher treasury yields have obviously weighed on the bullion, on gold. Now, here's some of the things that you need to consider about gold. I almost forgot about this. Thank you very much for reminding me. Now, gold dislikes rising yields, rising real interest rates, and a stronger dollar. All right. So if the CPI is hot, gold likely falls. Are we together? It falls further. The yields rise, and obviously the dollar strengthens. Softer CPI here, gold rallies. That's the textbook black and white kind of outcome that we look for. Because of the Fed hike expectations and the easing thereof, the dollar can weaken. So please, guys, be very careful when you're looking at the bullion. The bullion can give you a lot of nightmares if you are not careful. All right, I see there, Ash, I placed a buy on GBP since the June. All right, so hold on for me, because I think we went through that at the opening bell. I said I'll come back to it. All right, Sammy, I'll do that for you. Let's just quickly deal with the oil price, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So the oil price, I said to you guys in the opening bell, a lot of exhaustion. Did give you some insight there in terms of, there's too much disparity between the haves and the have-nots. And, because our global economy is so heavily dependent on the oil to produce, to manufacture, etc. It's not only the oil price, it's the attaining of it. So you have to buy it, then you need to get it. So the logistics behind it, all right? All of those costs, the employees, the labor, all of that obviously, adds up. Now, where we at as an economy, as a global economy, if you look at just Africa in general, the high interest rates, the unemployment is high. Guys, the gold price, sorry, not the gold price, the oil price, we cannot be looking at highs like that. All right? I just want you to think about that logically. We cannot be looking at a oil price at $200 per barrel at this point. The global economy is not at a place to handle that kind of pressure. It just doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of exhaustion that's kicking in. Unless we had an alternative to that, all right? It's a different story, but we're still very dependent on it. And obviously all reserves, they run out. I believe, I could be wrong on this one here. I must just recheck it, but by 2046, something like that. I'll have it for you guys tomorrow to give you more specifics, all right? But roughly around there, 2046, there's a lot of concerns, and we're trying to see what other alternatives there are. And although we may discuss it and guys can bring, a lot of ideas to the table, this is where we're at with the oil price. Guys, countries can't afford a $200 per barrel oil price, plus logistics, etc. Then it's the inflate. It just can't. Just think about it logically. All right. So, with that being said, we're anticipating the oil price to come down still a little bit here. It may not go all the way down to the $84 a barrel. We saw it for the past couple of months now. For June, there we have May. Obviously, April we had it down there at $84 a barrel, which was fantastic, isn't it so? Because, yes, the filtering of that drop, we feel it later on. And now we're back here. So even although even the petrol price is going up because of the oil surge, yeah, as it comes down, we can do a bit of cutting on that fuel price as well. I mean, US has elevated gas prices as well. Superpower, what they do, obviously the rest of the world follows suit. And there's no alternative currency system at this point in time. We are using the US dollars, the global reserve currency. SWIFT is in place. USDs or debt is in US dollars. The oil is. Those treasury bonds, all of that, guys, everything is led by the US dollar at this point in time. So we're following that meticulously. All right. So it's at $92 a barrel. We may just be coming down to these lows over here. We'll see what the CPI does, guys. All right. If the CPI is hotter than expected, then obviously we're going to get the opposite there, guys. We're going to see a totally different oil price at that point in time. But there seems to be a lot of divergence on the higher time frames. But let's wait and see how it goes. Not too much here for now. No intraday movements. From an hourly perspective, it's kind of just hanging around at this point in time. All right, but we'll check it out. Let's move now over to the GBP AUD. All right, it broke out of that area. And Sammy, I told you that it's a good trade. I said to you, if it looks good, I'll be joining you in this one. And I did. I kept to my word there. And so I've now gotten into that one. Look at that. I've gotten into that one. It's currently above, anticipating this one to push a little bit further up, roughly. And guys, 1.93. And so this is not a short-term trade. I know Sammy said you've been holding this, you're waiting for it. So we're going to wait and see how that goes. But at this point, there's a lot of divergence here as well. You can clearly see it, guys. Technically, we're seeing the upside. And obviously, we're seeing the pound dollar also move to the upside, which is fantastic. But let's have a look, see how it goes today, and obviously we'll see what happens then throughout the week. All right. Don't you think more we run short of oil, they have to hike the price? I mean, if you mentioned we're about to run, it's 2026. All right. I said 2046. This is different. I said, so we in 2026 now. 2046 is still a couple of years away, but I receive what you're saying though, Bravo. I think we can show each other love for that one. Yeah. I think we can show a bit of love for that one. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, remember, they have to balance things. That's why central banks are in here. Central banks, and we'll be going through some of those details tomorrow again. The mandate of the central bank. All right, Bravo, don't forget that. They got to keep inflation, in check, interest rates in check, because the livelihood of people is caught in that specific balance. All right, that's very important. So if the oil price skyrockets to God forbid, $300 per barrel, I can only imagine the terror and the chaos that is or that will create. It would be insane. For at least where the people are now, all right? Could there be a raising of the interest rates because of the threat to that price stability? Yes. Now, you see there's a possible hike then in December because of the elevated inflation. Do you see that? So if this war does not stop, obviously the Strait, you guys know already. I mean, we've been hammering on this for months now. You guys have been walking this journey with us as well. We've been hammering on the Strait. It's everywhere. It's still the talk of the town, all right? From an Iran and a US peace deal, now Israel is going at it on this side. There's just no clarity yet, okay? I had a brief look, and I saw President Zelensky sent a letter to President Putin wanting to meet. I can't remember the date exactly. Sandile, maybe you can quickly check it out for us over there. I don't know if it's later on this month, but I think President Zelensky now wants to strategically meet with President Putin for obvious reasons. Guys, that war also, they've not, shook hands. I was telling T, and we discussed it, in some of our other streams, and said, guys, if President Trump doesn't shake a hand of one of the Iranian officials, be it the president or the supreme leader, or if there's nothing like that in one room, all right, it's very difficult for us to close this chapter and say that there's peace. All right, it will be very difficult. Yes, they can have a treaty in place, they can have a memorandum in place, they can have a couple of points that they adhere to, but it just takes that one spark to start a fire again. So we need a better dialogue and better interaction from our leaders in the world. That's a very, very important point. So please just make sure that you understand that. All right, so it's not cooled down yet, and we're going to have to wait and see where that goes. That's just for some of the comments that I saw there in the chat facility. All right, let's move over now, guys. Let's go and see what BTC is doing. I'm going to go to a little bit of work on this one. I'm not going to be using the much shorter time frames over here. All right, why Ash? Because crypto, you can see it on a 15-minute, a lot of choppiness that's happening over here. So we want to try and use higher time frames for smoother movement. I'm going to start it off with an hour frame, and I can clearly see that this is the structure that we are dealing with here. That's the structure that we're dealing with. All right, that's the structure. So at this point in time, from a before we can even get to this area here, before we can even get there, we are here. That's where we're at. All right. So what the other reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at it now, watch, I'm going to go to my weekly. Let's go to the monthly and see where we're at. So let's see if this works. It's too far gone. It's too far gone. Hold on for me, guys. Let's go to work on this one. Yeah. So here we go, guys. We want to try and make it as simple as possible. You can clearly see where we at now with Bitcoin. All right, 62,000 there per coin. What's important for us to note is that little white block there. That area is critical. Why, Ash? Because if we don't get out of this area, all right, we're basically going to consolidate. So we need price to actually break forth. All right. Now, why would people invest in crypto, or why would they go into it? Is because obviously, guys, you do not want to get into something at a much higher price. Now, remember, it's pegged here, or at least denominated here with the US dollar. And so if you are paying 109,000 or 119,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, think about that for a second. All right. That is a lot of cash you're going to be paying, right? But I mean, fortunately, we trade it as derivatives here at TD Markets on our exchange, and so obviously you literally paying a fraction. All right, we have higher leverage offerings available, so your margin requirements is literally, it's a contract for difference, guys. All right, it's you're not paying the full price, obviously. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's not so much the margin that Ash is on about. It's about the price level at which Bitcoin is now. There's a lot of opportunity for growth. All right, back to this area. That is what Ash is about. Now, if you trade with TD and you're paying a fraction of the price, all right, and you buy at a very low here, and price moves all the way up to 122,000, back to those areas over there. All right, that's the kind of cash that Ash is referring to. That's the important part here. All right, very important. All right, I'm seeing there could be checking if. Yeah, Sandile, listen, absolutely. If we can get those talks, that could be the standard, the precedent that gets set, right? For us to have other leaders, world leaders, do that, because that's what we need to see. We need to see guys shake hands. All right, it's at least a metric to measure some form of peace. I'm not saying it's going to be 100%, but I mean, if you go in front of all the cameras, the entire world, and you're shaking hands and saying, "Listen here, let's do something about this issue we have. It's going on for too long. People are suffering. Unemployment is getting higher." Then it's a place we can work from, right? And obviously, once that happens and things start to stabilize, you're going to see a lot of more money start moving back into your cryptos as well. I mean, if you go across the board, the Ethers, the Solanas, the Cardanos, all these guys here, they've been experiencing a little bit of a slack. Obviously in the movement, because guys are taking money out and they're putting it into, different assets that's a little bit, it's considered a little bit more safe, all right, for the time being. But again, guys, money moves around. Money doesn't stay in one place, all right? That's why money does what it does. That's why it can build what it builds, because it moves around. So the price being at 62,000 US dollars per coin now, all right? Beautiful correction here technically that has taken place. You can see it on a weekly frame as well. Very deep correction, given us a lower high. We could get another lower low, guys. It's absolutely possible. That would just mean that, the guys are not ready yet to get into something like this. But that's good for us as traders, because the lower this goes, guys, the lower it goes, the better for us to be getting, a fantastic price at the downside. Now, can you sell it? Yes, absolutely you can. It's no problem. But obviously, you got to apply a little bit more skill. You got to look at the fundamentals. You don't want to be unrealistic and say, listen, Bitcoin is going to fall all the way to 15 or 16,000. I mean, if that's the case, think about the kind of investment that's going to come back in here. Think about the whales that's going to come back in here. They're just going to line up the contracts, and you don't want to miss that run, all right? You don't want to miss that bull run. So right now, the structure is pretty solid. We've got that high there, higher highs. We got, the lows, higher lows. There's another higher low here. So even if price comes till here, it's still a higher low. It's still within the structure. So we're not really, there's nothing crazy here. It's just the news that's obviously dominating what the movement is doing. But if we find a bit of support here and price breaks out of the structure and then possibly moves past that high, that could be a great spell, then a great movement for BTC to the upside, right? We also got the USD JPY, guys. We can't forget this one. The yen is a very credible source of information in terms of what's happening. It's obviously a major economy. We always bring up the USD JPY. Beautiful movement. All the yen pairs They have fantastic in terms of distances from lows to highs. You can bag quite a bit of pips over there. Now, from a monthly or at least an annual perspective, if I switch on the divergence indicator over here, not the data window, I beg your pardon. Give me a second. Let me just get it here for you guys so you can see. Bim bam bada boom. Let's come on, Ash. Where RSI. Sorry, guys. It was a bit slow there. All right. So we're seeing that, from a monthly perspective, if I zoom in, a lot of divergence here to the downside, guys. So, that's what I'm saying. We got to watch for that dollar. If you look at the weekly, you can see that there's a lot of exhaustion. Look at this areas here. We're coming down here. It continues to, go lower. However, here we're going higher. So if we get a weaker dollar, we come down, we create another structure here, and that is a beautiful run for some of the guys. All right, now if you go to a daily frame, you can start to see it's definitely. Look at that. Absolutely, you can see that there's a lot of exhaustion, all right, at the top side of the USD JPY. So we'll be watching this one closely. More specifically, guys, if I zoom in here, you can see I've got 3 blocks here. I got the small gray, I got the white one, and the big gray. Now, I'll only engage in a big short if it breaks and closes beneath this one. For now, what I'm interested in is from there to there, and if it breaks there, from there to there. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for too much. I can give you the pip distance as well. From there to there, you're looking at about 33 pips. That's up for grabs. Very nice movement. If you look at it from this specific area to that specific area over there, 50 pips. Brilliant move. All right, brilliant move. Let's see there. There's no update yet, but Zelensky asked, yes, there we go. So that's what I wanted, Sandila. There we go. Zelensky asked to meet with Putin while Trump is still, yes, that's what I wanted the guys to see. Thanks so much for quickly getting in there. Guys, this is what we call a community. All right, we jump in. We make sure that everybody is updated. Yes, we can give a few insightful nuggets. But remember, guys, what is the ultimate aim with the TD Markets Academy? Independence. You should be able to open up our TD Markets MT5 platform, our TDME exclusively crypto platform, and you able to pull the trigger because you have been educated. There's a bridge you've extracted. Watch our podcast. Myself and T, we were chatting about, extracting. We got to extract, extract what we can, and then we got to point out what to do, guys. It's all here at our brokerage. It's at TD Markets. All right. So let's leave the USD JPY for now. Myself and T will slide back into this one tomorrow. And then obviously, let's quickly look at the major indices over here, guys. S&P 500 in specificity. You can see it's also just consolidating right now. It's not moved out of that gray block. I'm not engaging at this at all. I'm waiting to see what happens at 1530. If it does break above there, the great thing about indices, you can make a note of that, it is a trend respecter. All right, once it starts moving in a trending format, or once the nature is trending, it normally finishes the job. That's the great thing. It's not like the commodities where it will create a high, a low, do that, and then the commodities will come down again. So it won't respect the trend formation. It will disrupt it. And then after that, it will push up. This one, when it comes to indices, it respects the trending nature of price. All right, so there's a high, there's a higher low. Let's see what it does. If it breaks and creates a higher high, fantastic. If not, we'll wait. The US 30, the same. We are obviously seeing that from a 1 hour perspective, guys. The London session is still in progress. And the Asian session is obviously closed. That's around 11 o'clock. It closes. And so now the London is in session. The US is going to be opening very soon, the pre. And we're going to be seeing if it breaks the London high. If it breaks the London high, we could see price going back to about 51,343 points there on this index, guys. Massive index, powerful index, lots of space in between. Obviously, you got to be, a little bit more skilled and so forth. So that's why you got to get educated, so we can teach you some of that skill on how to scale the trending nature of these indices over here. All right. Euro NZD, we have obviously pushed above certain areas. We're looking to see the Euro NZD go at least possibly up to the zone over here. At this point in time, it's sitting at a support, higher low. Hopefully, it pushes up. Obviously, we'll be doing a bit of a loop back tomorrow on some of these over here. The same with the GBP NZD, guys. All right, it's moved up considerably well. Last week, we were looking at the longs. And it has moved up consistently now for the entire week last week. Let's see what it does this week. All right. So from my side, just from just looping back, we're seeing that the dollar is slightly weak here at this point in time, guys. Obviously, we're going to be watching the US Open, but at this point in time, the dollar is a little bit weaker here for now. CPI tomorrow, don't forget it. You guys should be here. We'll be streaming at 2 o'clock. We're looking forward to seeing you guys. Absolutely. All right. I'm seeing, hold on. There's Bravo. Let it fall to 2,000. That thing is expensive. Yeah. Bravo. Listen, man. Listen, if that BTC falls, guys, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place to be. Beautiful place to be. All right. GBP yen. Let's quickly have a look there, or let's quickly have a look there. That is for Tabatso, not a problem. Let's have a look. Let's do some work on the GBP yen. Come on. All right, Tabatso. So GBP yen is, it's very choppy right now. Look at this. This entire area from there all the way across. All the way across. That's sideways. Look at that. All right. Ooh. Yeah, this is there should be a lot of divergence here. There should be a lot of divergence here. Look at this. That's what we're dealing with right now. If I put on, let's quickly put it on, and I'll show you why there's so much divergence here. Look at that. Oh, absolutely. What a killer. This is a beautiful trade if it works out. I mean, it's a phenomenal. There's so much divergence here. Look at this. Oh. All right. So the first point here, if price comes down here, all right, and remember, we're looking at the dollar. This is the zone right there. Back to these lows right there. Okay. That's the first thing. The second area, the price 203. So we have the first area, if it does, right there, 210, around 210. And then we have 203. And that's it. That's simple right there. The rest, we deal with that as it goes. Guys, we are not, Ash is not into giving you this for now. All right, that's far away. That's 187. All right, we're currently at 214. So 210 is not far away from that. 203 is a greater fall. And there hasn't been a proper correction yet on the much higher time frames. All right, so let's see how it goes, man. But this could really be a fantastic sell there. We're gonna have to wait and see on that one. All right, and then Tsepo, I did the GBP AUD already, but you know, we're currently still bullish on this one. Okay, we're currently still bullish. I'm already in this one. I'm in the Euro USD and I'm in GBP AUD. All right, that Hang Seng has been very disappointing for me personally. Yeah, that Hang Seng has been very disappointing for me. Hopefully we can have some movement over there soon. All right, but guys, this is ahead of the CPI. We're seeing a bit of a strong, weaker dollar here today. Let's see how it goes, man. 15:30. Watch the US Open. And then obviously, guys, some announcements coming. Me and T will go into more detail tomorrow around that. So make sure that you are here. All right. Make sure you're here. One of the suggested places for Zelensky and Putin, Switzerland. Russian rule could be positively affected if the war ends and deals. Yep. Natural gas too. I totally agree with this. The guy should just shake hands. But again, you know, power structure is a very intricate. It's a crazy delicacy. That power structures is a very interesting discussion. Maybe some point we can chat about that. All right, because that's how markets are formed. That's how businesses are built, isn't it? So there's got to be a power structure that gets cultivated. All right, guys, have a fantastic have a fantastic day further. It is now 14:57. We've done extremely well today. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. All right, fantastic. Have a good one. Thanks for all the interaction. Show us some love. As always, we're the most trusted broker. All right. And please, I'm intentional. I'm not even saying Africa. I'm not saying North America, or I'm saying we are the most trusted broker. All right. I think that's enough to say. Read between the lines. All right. See you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic one. Yeah. Ashley Reeve here, and I'm signing out.